Be ready, truly ready, because what we're stepping into isn't just another energetic shift that comes and goes like a passing breeze. What's unfolding right now has the power to reshape your entire 2025. This isn't something to brush off as just a subtle cosmic nudge. It's a rupture, a tearing open of the energy field that many won't see coming. But deep down, you did. Something inside you always knew. The movement from June into July this year isn't your usual monthly transition. It's not simply flipping a page in the calendar. This is vibrational, an energetic threshold that once crossed changes how reality feels, looks, and moves. And because you're sensitive, because you're energetically attuned, you may have already started noticing it before it physically arrives. You may have felt a strange shift in your sleep, a quickening in your thoughts, or emotions that came out of nowhere. That's not coincidence. It's resonance. Your soul recognizes what's coming before your mind can make sense of it. And if you've been sensing it, if something showed up for you early, visions, dreams, intense emotions, even strange synchronicities, know that you're not the only one. Sharing your experiences right now might help someone else understand what they've been going through too. You're not isolated in this journey, even if it feels like you're moving through uncharted territory. Others are walking parallel paths, and your story could be the spark that makes someone else feel seen. But amidst this powerful shift, there's one seemingly innocent habit, one little thing many people do, especially late at night, that could be draining your energy more than you realize. It's something so subtle, so ordinary, it barely catches our attention. And yet, during times like these, when the energy is this raw and open, this one behavior can interfere with your frequency in a big way. I'll share what it is in just a moment, but before I do, you need to hear this. There's something else many are doing right now that looks positive on the outside, but is quietly sabotaging their energy field from within. It's the pressure to stay light, to stay cheerful, to pretend everything is okay when your whole inner world feels like it's rearranging. That false positivity, smiling through spiritual storms, repeating affirmations while ignoring pain, chasing light while denying your shadows, is not helping. In fact, it's harmful. It's a form of spiritual self-abandonment dressed up as optimism. This is not a season of good vibes only. This is the season of truth. The kind of truth that burns, that cleanses, that asks you to finally stop running from your grief, your fear, your regrets, and your buried pain. The transition we're in doesn't want your perfection. It wants your presence. It's pulling up everything you thought you had hidden. Not to punish you, but to purify you. To help you shed what no longer belongs to the version of you that's emerging. So if you're feeling heavy, if you're overwhelmed, if you're exhausted or emotionally stretched thin, know this isn't a sign that you're falling apart. It's a sign that you're responding to an immense energetic upgrade. You're not failing. You're transforming. And while it might feel like everything is breaking down, that breakdown is often the exact doorway your spirit has been waiting for. It's the cracking open that lets the truth in. It's not comfortable, but comfort was never the goal of transformation. Awakening is messy. Rebirth is uncomfortable, but both are sacred. Now here's the twist that most people miss during times like this. The instinct to cleanse, to purify, to fast, to restrict, to do something drastic in hopes of aligning with the new energy can backfire right now. During transitions this intense, that desire to clear everything out, even your body, is often a survival response to feeling overwhelmed by what you can't control. But your body, right now, is not the problem. Your body is the solution. It's your anchor. It's the filter that's helping you process the massive surge of frequency hitting the planet. It's working overtime to protect you from energies that are invisible but deeply real. So when you start pulling away nourishment, thinking fasting will help you become more aligned, you're not cleansing, you're weakening your shield. At a time when the veil is this thin and you're this exposed, your physical body is the last line of defense between you and the unseen. Restriction won't bring clarity, it will bring collapse. Your system is already doing spiritual heavy lifting. What it needs is not less, but more. More minerals, more grounding, more support. So if you've been waking up tired, if your nervous system feels overcharged, if your emotions are peaking and crashing like waves, this is not the time to deprive yourself. It's the time to nourish yourself. The idea that discomfort always equals healing isn't always true. Not all suffering is sacred, and not all emptiness leads to alignment. In fact, over-cleansing right now, especially if you're energetically sensitive, could leave you wide open to energies that destabilize you. Before we move ahead in the video, I want to let you know that if you've gained even a little value from my efforts, please consider donating through Super Thanks or via PayPal. It really helps motivate and inspire us to keep going. Ask yourself this and be honest. Are you trying to feel lighter, or are you trying to disappear? There's a difference. This is not about numbing out or indulging. It's about giving your body what it needs to stay here, present, grounded, strong. That's what alignment looks like right now. Not floating off into the ether, but anchoring deeply into this human experience, because your soul chose to be here, now, in this exact moment of transition. And here's something that rarely gets said out loud. Sometimes, the desire to be pure, to transcend, to cleanse yourself into lightness, it's just fear. A fear of being fully human. A fear of sitting with the mess, the chaos, the emotion, the unpredictability. But that fear won't carry you into the new frequency. Only truth will, and truth begins with presence. This shift between June and July is deeply spiritual, yes, but it's also biological. It's happening in your cells, your hormones, your nervous system. And you can't leave your body behind in the name of ascension. You must bring it with you. Strengthen it. Support it, nourish it. Because what's coming next won't just test your spirit. It will test your stamina, your resilience, your presence. Now let's talk about that mental pressure, the constant hum of thought, the obsession with trying to figure everything out before the future fully lands. That voice in your head that's desperate to map it all out, to plan, to predict. That's not your intuition. That's anxiety pretending to be strategy. And right now, trying to define your path is like trying to build a house while the ground beneath it is still shifting. There's a reason why clarity feels so far away. It's because you're not supposed to have it yet. You're in the middle of a recreation process. The foundation isn't dry yet. The shape of your life is still fluid, and forcing a fixed vision in this moment will only create tension. Instead of chasing certainty, try this. Trust the moment. Trust your body. Trust your energy. Let yourself feel without fixing. Let yourself be without pretending. Because this isn't the final version of you. It's the in-between space. And in this space, your job isn't to have it all figured out. Your job is to stay present, to stay real, to stay connected, even when everything feels like it's unraveling. So here's what it all comes down to. This isn't just a transition. It's a calling, a calling back into wholeness, a return to truth, and yes, something seemingly small, something almost everyone does late at night without a second thought. Doom scrolling through social media, comparing your life to others, consuming content long after your body has asked you to rest. That one habit is quietly wrecking your frequency. Your nervous system doesn't get a break when your eyes are constantly taking in stimulation, especially now when you're more porous, more open, more energetically sensitive than usual. So if you want to protect your energy during this shift, let your nights be sacred. Power down. Let your nervous system breathe. Give your spirit space to integrate everything it's absorbing. The world will still be there in the morning, but your energy needs tending now. The path ahead requires you, not your performance, your truth, not your mask, and your full presence, not your perfection. This is not about escaping the human experience. It's about expanding through it. What many people are mistaking for purpose right now is actually panic in disguise. It's not true direction. It's an anxious scramble to make meaning out of the unknown. And that fog you're feeling, it's not here to hold you back. It's not a punishment or a block. It's a temporary blindfold placed delicately over your spiritual eyes, not to hinder you, but to wake up the deeper senses within you, the ones you've long neglected, the ones that only awaken when the usual paths are obscured. As we shift from the end of June into the beginning of July, we're not just crossing dates on a calendar. We are standing in a liminal space, the in-between where time stretches and bends, where nothing is quite stable and everything feels like it's trembling just beneath the surface. During this strange and sacred phase, your soul may grow quiet, but in contrast, your mind will likely grow louder. That's the trick. That's the trap. The mind, in its desperate search for control, will urge you to plan, to analyze, to chase. But the soul knows better. It knows this is not a time for strategies or solutions. You're not here right now to execute your next big move. You're here to release. You're here to let the old layers fall away. This isn't a mission. It's a molting. Something within you is shedding, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown it. Destiny doesn't need to be chased in this moment. It's not slipping away from you. It's actually drawing nearer, assembling itself quietly in the background, aligning every thread to match the frequency of the next version of you. And when that inner frequency finally meets the version of your life that's waiting for you, it will click into place effortlessly. No forcing, no pushing. Just a gentle and inevitable download of alignment. That's why you don't need to know your 5-year plan right now. You don't even need to have next week figured out. What you truly need is space. You need stillness. You need the courage to hold the silence long enough for the mental fog to clear on its own. So many of us make premature decisions when we're surrounded by energetic confusion, and most of those choices come back to haunt us. They unravel just as quickly as we commit to them, not because we didn't mean them, but because they weren't born from truth. They were born from panic. So take a breath. Don't rush to define this moment. Sit in the fog if you must. Let it wrap around you without trying to fight it. If you can resist the urge to turn this uncertainty into a crisis, you'll emerge on the other side of this week with a kind of inner clarity that most people never get to experience. You've already had glimpses of it. You felt something shift recently, a breakthrough, a moment of release, a truth that echoed through your entire being. It could have been something you've been waiting on for months, and suddenly it showed up. A message that resonated so deeply it made your skin tingle, a vision that confirmed everything you suspected. That inner knowing is real. That energetic opening? It happened. And of course, your first instinct might be to share it, to post about it, to call someone and describe every part of what just bloomed inside of you. That's natural. When something beautiful awakens in us, we want to bring it into the light. But right now, especially right now, that urge is dangerous. It's a trap. You see, the energy of that breakthrough hasn't finished landing yet. You're still integrating it, still anchoring it into your body and your field. And if you expose it too soon, especially in this spiritually volatile portal between June and July, it can easily start to leak out. The insight won't vanish, but it will be weakened. The magic will be diluted. You see, not everything sacred is meant to be seen right away. Some transformations need to remain hidden for a while, nurtured in the quiet, protected by darkness so they can grow strong enough to hold their own. In spiritual circles, this space is often called a sealing window, a period where your potential is hovering just above you, ready to merge with your field, but it hasn't quite dropped in yet. During this time, your job isn't to speak, it's to hold, to wait, to honor the stillness, to protect the gold. Let the new energy fuse with every part of you in the silence. Let it become part of your nervous system, part of your breath, your voice, your presence. Because we are in a fragile, energetic moment. What you say out loud becomes a kind of spell. And not all spells are received the way we intend. Every time you speak about your growth, your success, or your spiritual awakening, you open a door. And right now, not everyone who hears you will be able to honor that door. Some ears, even loving ones, are clouded. Even well-meaning people can unintentionally water down what you're trying to anchor. They might offer advice, skepticism, or even just a subtle energy of doubt, and that can disrupt your sacred flow. You've probably felt it before. You share something powerful too soon and then feel deflated, as if the magic you felt was never real to begin with. But it was real. It is real. What happened is called energetic leakage. The shift didn't vanish. It simply got exposed before it was ready. That's why this time, you're being asked to honor your own silence. Let it be the loudest proof of your transformation. You don't need applause to confirm your growth. You don't need validation to prove your healing. What you've done is real, and if you want it to remain real, let it root in the dark. Celebrate in sacred ways. Talk to your guides. Write it all down. Let the beauty of your breakthrough live in your body a little longer before you offer it to the world. Because the version of you that just emerged, that version is sacred. And sacred things don't need the spotlight to thrive. They need protection. They need intimacy. They need time to grow unseen. And here's the deeper truth. Every time you rise, every time your field opens during a spiritual shift like this, you become more visible not just to light, but to everything. Your energy field becomes more porous, more magnetic, more sensitive, and it doesn't just attract divine alignment, it can attract interference. That's not superstition, that's energetic law. When your frequency heightens, it doesn't discriminate. It calls everything in. And guess who notices first? The ones who feed off your light but never offer their own. The people who always seem to call the moment you're finally feeling good. The ones who pour their endless chaos into your cup but never refill it. You already know who they are. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's family, maybe it's someone you used to help out of love, but now only feel drained by. Their issues don't stop. Their need is constant. and their presence is starting to feel more like a weight than a connection. These energy vampires don't need an invitation. They just need access. And right now, they're hungrier than usual. Not because they're malicious, but because they feel the shift too. They feel the change, the intensity, the pressure of this portal. But instead of going inward and transforming it, they reach outward. They grab, they cling, they attach themselves to whoever is glowing. And if you don't hold firm boundaries, they will pull you backward just when you're trying to leap forward. You can't afford that anymore. Not in this energy. If you carry their frequency into the next phase of your journey, it doesn't just weigh you down emotionally. It becomes part of your energetic signature. Their chaos becomes your confusion. Their fear becomes your fog. Their stuckness becomes your spiritual block. And that's not judgment. It's just how energy works. This connection you're thinking about, if it's truly meant to last, it will evolve with you. It's not about shutting people out coldly or being harsh. It's about honoring the sacredness of your own space and being clear, not just kind. There's a deep difference between coldness and clarity. Right now, you're not being asked to disconnect from love. You're being asked to refine your boundaries. If someone consistently leaves you feeling depleted, ungrounded, anxious, or like your internal system has been short-circuited, that's not just a rough patch. That's a red flag. You don't have to answer every call that comes your way. You don't have to open the door just because someone knocks. This week, and in this portal between June and July, you're being asked to treat your clarity like it's a newborn child. Fragile, sacred, and in need of protection. It's time to guard your energetic space with the same devotion you'd offer to something precious and still forming. Because it is. You are. And here's the part that stings a bit, but also sets you free. Every single time you choose to engage with someone who drains you, just to keep the peace, just to be kind, just to avoid conflict, you're sending a signal to your own spirit that their comfort is more important than your growth. And that can no longer be your truth. It can't. Not if you're serious about healing. Not if you're serious about evolution. The people who are truly aligned with your next level won't try to force their way into your energetic field while you're healing. They won't demand your attention, access, or energy when you're in the middle of a deep spiritual molt. The right people, the soul-aligned people, will respect your space. Or better yet, they'll be doing their own inner work at the same time. They'll meet you on the other side of this cocoon, just as transformed, just as clear. So let the silence do its work. Let the quiet purify your circle. Because you're not really confused. Confusion is often just a veil we pull over truths we don't want to face. You're not unsure. You're avoiding. You're not unclear. You're unwilling to confront what's already been shown to you. Somewhere inside, you already know this. You felt it for weeks, maybe months, maybe even longer. And that inner knowing hasn't gone anywhere. It's only gotten louder. This portal you're walking through now, the one stretched wide open between June and July, is not about receiving more signs or chasing after angel numbers and cosmic synchronicities. It's not about gathering more spiritual breadcrumbs to build a comfortable version of the truth. This isn't about novelty. This is about honesty. This is about sitting down with the revelations that already came and asking yourself why you haven't moved on them yet. Because the truth, you already got the sign. You had the dream. You saw the pattern. You felt the gut punch. You had the sudden realization, the uncomfortable moment of clarity, the intuitive hit that made your chest ache. but it didn't look the way you expected. It didn't fit the narrative you were still clinging to. It didn't align with the version of life you were attached to, so you ignored it. You asked for another sign. You told yourself you just needed more proof, more validation, more time. And now here you are, trapped in a spiritual loop, waiting for more clarity when what's really missing isn't direction. It's the willingness to act. It's the courage to do the hard thing. This moment is where everything shifts. The veil between timelines is thin. The distance between your inner state and your outer reality is nearly non-existent. What you feel, you begin to live. What you decide now begins to take shape almost immediately. Which means this is not a time to ignore your intuition or doubt what you know in your bones. If your gut has been screaming at you and you're still asking for confirmation, it's not because spirit hasn't spoken. It's because fear is holding the mic. Your intuition isn't quiet. Your resistance is just louder right now. The truth has already been delivered to you, more than once, in more ways than you can count. But every time you chose to brush it off, you taught the universe that you weren't ready to move. And here's something we don't like to talk about often. If you keep pretending that you're still waiting for guidance, eventually the signs will stop coming. Not out of cruelty, not out of punishment, but because silence becomes the message. At some point, the divine stops repeating itself. The angels go quiet. Not forever, but long enough to show you that you're not entitled to endless warnings. Spirit speaks, and then it waits. The universe will not beg you to transform. It offers the opening, and then it watches what you do with it. And this is one of those openings. This is not the time for more questions. It's the time for bold alignment. The kind that may look like walking away from something familiar. The kind that may require you to end something that almost worked, but not quite. To grieve something that was full of potential, but not the kind you were meant to hold on to forever. You might have to release the maybe, the not yet, the but what if, because deep down, you already know. You've known for a long time. But you wanted the universe to do the painful part. You wanted spirit to swoop in and make the cut for you. You wanted clarity to come with closure, with ease, with reassurance that no hurt would come. But that's not how this level of healing works. Not anymore. Clarity isn't the problem. You've had it. Courage is what you need now. And courage doesn't always come with peace. Sometimes it arrives with discomfort, with tears, with doubt. But it still moves. It still acts. It still chooses freedom, even when it's afraid. This is your moment. The exit ramp your soul placed for you months ago is right here. But if you keep waiting for another dream, another confirmation, another cosmic reassurance, you could miss it. And not because you're being punished, but because this portal won't stay open forever. There's a trap that many empaths, healers, intuitives, and light-bearers fall into during times of energetic shift. We convince ourselves that waiting is wisdom, that staying still is spiritual, that asking for more signs is somehow being aligned. But there comes a point when the wisest thing you can do is act. There comes a point when staying silent is no longer sacred. It's self-sabotage. Transitions like the one we're currently in aren't just energetic shifts. They're full-body, full-soul experiences that reach into the deepest layers of who we are. They stir the unseen, the unresolved, the unspoken. And in the chaos of it all, it's easy to slip back into familiar roles, especially if you're someone who has always taken on the weight of others. You feel it again, that pull, that ache in your heart when someone you love is hurting. Your friend is unraveling again, caught in the same cycle you've watched them go through countless times. Your sibling sends another message filled with pain that they won't fully name. Someone close to you seems to be caught in a karmic spiral, and your instinct is to reach out, to fix it, to hold their pieces together. You've done it before. You've shown up, held space, spoken the right words, extended your energy beyond what you had to give. But this time, it's different. This portal isn't asking for your intervention. It's asking for your detachment. It might go against every part of you that feels responsible for others' well-being, but this moment is sacred in a way that demands stillness rather than action. Right now, every soul is being handed their own mirror. This is not a season of rescuing. It's a season of reflection. Every emotion, every pattern, every collapse that is surfacing for someone is part of their own soul's curriculum. It's being shown to them for a reason. This is a cosmic feedback loop, and no one is exempt. Everyone is being asked to face their own shadows, their own grief, their own sabotage, their own truths. And that process? It is not yours to interrupt, even if your heart wants to help. Even if you believe you're doing it out of love. Because here's the hard truth most people avoid. Trying to help someone who didn't ask for it is not love. It's control, however gently it's wrapped. It's a form of spiritual bypassing that wears the mask of compassion. You may believe you're simply being supportive, but on a deeper level, there's often something else at play. Sometimes our desire to fix others is just a clever way of avoiding ourselves. It lets us bypass our own discomfort, our own rising shadows, our own work. It gives us something external to focus on, so we don't have to sit in the silence with our own unraveling. During energetic shifts like this, everything is amplified. The veil between the seen and unseen is thin. Emotions sit right at the surface, and our energetic boundaries are more fragile than usual. Karma is sticky, meaning that when you involve yourself in someone else's unresolved energy, especially when they haven't asked you to, you don't just observe it, you absorb it. You take it into your own field, thinking you're helping, but later you find yourself exhausted, confused, and heavy. You leave this transition carrying weight that was never yours, and you wonder why you don't feel clear, even after giving so much. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to them. Let people sit in their own fire. That fire is not a punishment. It's an initiation. It's where the real alchemy happens. No one comes out the other side of transformation unchanged. And that change only occurs when the process is allowed to unfold naturally, without interference. You are not their savior. That's never been your job. You are a mirror. You are a holder of frequency, a beacon of stillness, a presence that reflects truth, but not someone who takes over the sacred contract between their soul and source. That contract is personal. That journey is theirs. And here's something you might not want to admit, but you feel it anyway. Sometimes when we rush in to help, it's not because they truly need us. It's because we can't stand the discomfort of watching someone we love fall apart. It's hard, it's heartbreaking, but growth is messy. Awakening is painful. And if we steal that moment from someone, even with good intentions, we rob them of the breakthrough waiting on the other side of the breakdown. Sometimes, the most loving, powerful thing you can do is allow someone to walk through the fire, knowing that on the other side, they will rise stronger, clearer, more aligned. If they reach out, if they ask for help, then show up with clean energy. Speak clearly. Listen deeply. Be present without agenda. But if they don't ask, don't force it. Let them be. Let the portal do its work. And remember this. There's something we often do, especially at night, that feels small but holds immense weight during times like these. It's that moment when the world quiets down, the noise fades, and you're alone with yourself. Your body might feel strange, your chest might buzz, your heart might race even though you're lying still. That feeling isn't random. It's your system processing the energy of this shift, the echoes of all you've held on to, all that's being released. And what do we usually do in that moment? We reach, we scroll, we text, we call, we distract. We try to hold on to someone or something that makes us feel needed, or less alone, or more in control. But during this transition, that reaching becomes an energetic trap. This is not a time for clutching. It's a time for surrender. It's not a time to pull others into your storm or get pulled into theirs. The work you're doing now, the letting go, the sitting still, the feeling of discomfort in your own skin, is what will shape who you become on the other side of this shift. So let the people you love do their own soul work. Even if it's messy, even if it scares you, trust the process, trust their path, trust yours. It starts with that eerie, crawling sensation beneath your skin, like your body is responding to something invisible, something just out of reach. You can't sleep. You're caught between extremes, too hot, then freezing cold, as if your physical system is trying to find some kind of balance but can't. Meanwhile, your mind refuses to rest. It loops endlessly, thought after thought spinning in tight, breathless circles. You can't catch a break, let alone a breath. And like so many of us in moments like these, you reach for something that feels like control. You grab your phone. You start Googling, asking the internet to explain your body's strange whispers. Why do I feel dizzy when I close my eyes? Is my third eye blocked? Is it too open? Is this ascension sickness? Or am I just unraveling? Here's what no search result can tell you. You're not broken. You're not malfunctioning. You are in a sacred in-between, a moment of deep energetic transition. Your nervous system isn't failing you. It's doing something extraordinary. It's attempting to hold more light, more energy, and more consciousness than it has ever carried before. What you're experiencing right now isn't a breakdown. It's a breakthrough. This is a full recalibration. Your entire energy body is expanding, stretching, learning how to contain and embody the new frequencies that are arriving faster than your logical mind can process. This strange electric current you feel running through you, this heaviness, this exhaustion, this sense of not knowing where you end and the energy around you begins, this is all part of the upgrade. It's messy, it's intense, it's confusing, but it's not a diagnosis. And it's not a red flag that something's gone wrong. It's a sign that something ancient, something essential, is finally waking up within you. Right now, the space between June and July is acting like a portal, one that doesn't ask for understanding, but demands surrender. It's ripping open old shells, old programming, and pulling dormant parts of your spirit into the light. And that doesn't always feel like peace. Sometimes it feels like chaos. But don't let a single heavy night convince you that your light has gone out. Don't let an anxious thought spiral write the story of your future. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding the self you outgrew. Spiritual symptoms are real, yes, but they are not always problems that need solving. Sometimes they're signals that your energy is shifting to a higher order, that your soul is preparing for a reality that your current body and mind are only beginning to grasp. The dizziness, the fatigue, the strange dreams, the surges of emotion, They're not always signs of something being wrong. Sometimes they're the echoes of something going right. The real danger isn't in the sensations you're experiencing. It's in the stories you attach to them. When you start interpreting every unfamiliar feeling as a failure or a flaw, when you tell yourself you must be broken because your body feels strange or your spirit feels ungrounded, you start to spiral. And that spiral pulls you out of your evolution and into fear. What could have been a sacred detox becomes a perceived collapse, all because you misread the signs. Now is not the moment to self-diagnose your transformation. This isn't the time to dissect every twitch or every emotion. This is the time to trust. You are not spiritually blocked. You're simply becoming someone you've never been before. And yes, that process is going to feel unfamiliar, sometimes even disorienting. That's not dysfunction. It's growth. You don't need to pathologize your awakening. You're not a puzzle to be solved. You're a soul in motion. You are shifting, stretching, opening. And your body is wise. It knows exactly how to do this. The more you allow yourself to relax into the discomfort, to stop resisting what feels strange, the more quickly the energy finds its flow. Your job isn't to label everything. Your job is to listen, to feel, to witness, to stay present as the new you takes form. And let's talk about something else. Something almost no one likes to admit during these kinds of energetic transitions. There's an urge that creeps in during times like this. An impulse to clean house, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, socially. A moment of disagreement? Cut. A surge of discomfort? Blocked. Someone sends a message that triggers an old wound? Deleted, erased, shut down. But pause here. Is that clarity you're reaching for? Or is it control? This portal between June and July doesn't just stir the light within you. It also presses hard on the emotional bruises you've been avoiding. It magnifies the discomfort. It asks you to feel it all, especially the things you've pushed aside. And in the heat of that pressure, it's easy to mistake irritation for intuition. To think a relationship is toxic just because it touched a part of you that still hurts. We start thinking we can purify our path by pushing everyone out of it. But real healing doesn't happen through exile. It happens through presence. Of course, there are times when walking away is the most loving choice. But when that choice is made from panic, not peace, from reaction rather than reflection, what you're doing isn't healing. It's hiding. You're not releasing old weight. You're abandoning important lessons. And there's a difference. Boundaries are vital. They help protect the sacred within us. But when boundaries are used like armor to keep everyone out, they stop being sacred. They become cages. And right now, this energy is volatile. It's easy to mistake fear for empowerment. But false power crumbles the moment the dust settles. If you burn every bridge in this moment of intensity, you might find yourself alone, not because you evolved, but because you reacted. This is not the time to delete your life. It's the time to pause, to observe, to allow the discomfort to show you something deeper. Sometimes, the people who trigger you are actually showing you where your healing still lives. Sometimes, the connections that feel hard are the ones that are teaching you how to stay open even when you want to run. Not every sting means savor. Some are sacred mirrors, revealing parts of yourself you didn't know still needed your love. You are in a powerful metamorphosis right now, and like any transformation, it's going to test you. It will stretch your capacity to feel, to trust, to stay grounded when everything inside of you wants to escape. But this is your moment. This is your becoming. You don't need to diagnose yourself. You need to witness yourself. You need to remember that the discomfort isn't a sign to stop. It's a sign that something profound is unfolding. Have you ever paused for a moment after a conversation and suddenly felt this intense emotional reaction, like something inside you flinched or recoiled? Maybe your heart raced or your chest tightened, and you couldn't stop replaying the interaction in your mind. In moments like that, instead of rushing to cut the connection, block the person, or write it off as toxic, what if you simply asked yourself, why did that moment shake me so deeply? What exactly was it about that interaction that left you feeling unsettled? It's easy to believe that a connection is over just because it stirred something uncomfortable within you. But sometimes, that discomfort isn't a sign that something is wrong with them. It's a reflection of something still unresolved inside of you. Relationships, especially the triggering ones, often act like mirrors. They reflect back the parts of ourselves we haven't fully acknowledged or healed. And if we cut ties too quickly, out of a knee-jerk reaction or a desire to avoid pain, we don't actually escape the issue. We carry that unhealed wound forward into the next cycle, into the next connection, and into the next lesson. When we sever ties from a place of fear rather than clarity, the emotional cord doesn't vanish. It simply sinks deeper into the shadow, binding us more tightly in the places we refuse to look. We think we've freed ourselves, but in truth, we've just buried the pain and delayed the healing. There's a tendency in spiritual spaces to overcorrect, to believe that if someone hurts our feelings, they must be low vibrational, that if we feel uncomfortable, it must mean the connection is bad for us. But you don't have to exile everyone who challenges you. Not every disagreement or trigger is a sign to run away. Growth requires tension. It requires challenge. You're not here to build a reality filled with people who never touch your wounds or stretch your capacity to evolve. You're here to practice discernment. And that doesn't always mean cutting people off. Sometimes it means staying long enough to understand why something hurt you in the first place. Sitting with emotional discomfort instead of deleting it is one of the most radical things you can do. Let yourself feel what their presence brings up. Let yourself explore what rises in your body, what stories echo in your mind. But through all of it, try not to confuse urgency with intuition. Just because something feels intense doesn't mean it's truth. Just because you're hurting doesn't mean the other person is inherently wrong for being in your life. Emotional urgency often masquerades as divine knowing, but real inner knowing doesn't scream. It's calm, it's clear, it's steady. Empowerment isn't about cutting people off at the first sign of pain. Empowerment is about understanding the why behind your desire to disconnect, and then making a conscious, peaceful choice from that awareness. If a person truly no longer belongs in your life, you won't need drama or panic or 100 reasons to justify it. The truth will simply land in your body like a quiet, grounded knowing. It won't feel like a storm. It'll feel like the end of one. Before you hit block, before you ghost, before you write them off, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this decision coming from my higher self? Or is it coming from the part of me that just wants to escape the discomfort of the lesson? Because sometimes, the greater risk isn't keeping someone too long. It's letting go too soon. It's severing a thread you still need to understand. It's skipping over the soul work because the emotions felt too heavy to hold. Have you ever been walking around your house, trying to get things done or winding down for the night, only to suddenly find yourself mid-argument? In your mind? Not with the person standing in front of you, but with a memory, a message, or a version of someone who isn't even present anymore. It might be someone from your past, someone who hurt you or misunderstood you, or it could be someone you just spoke to, where the conversation didn't go how you hoped. And so your mind starts replaying it. You defend yourself. You rewrite your words. You try again. And again. And again. But that inner dialogue isn't healing. It's looping. It's a closed circuit of energy that only keeps you trapped in what was. That mental theater isn't helping you close the wound. It's keeping it alive. And every time you re-enter that imaginary argument, you siphon off a bit of your life force. You're using sacred energy to feed a reality that no longer exists. This season, the portal that opens between June and July, is known for amplifying mental noise. It stirs the depths of your psyche and pulls old emotional patterns and unfinished dynamics to the surface. For those of us with busy minds, this can feel like getting lost in a web of thoughts, spinning scenarios and stories that only exist in the unseen. But those thoughts aren't harmless. They blur your clarity. They fog up your intuition. They distract you from the moment you're actually living in. This portal doesn't want you to fight ghosts. It wants you to stop rehearsing battles that ended long ago. It wants you to choose peace, to release the inner dialogue that only delays your own becoming. When you notice yourself spiraling into one of these imaginary confrontations, pause. Place your hands over your heart. Breathe. Come back to now. Because what's coming next in your life, this new chapter, this expansion, this sacred invitation, needs your full presence. It needs your feet on the ground and your heart open. Not weighed down by past defenses, not bound up in loops of fear and replayed pain, but fully available to receive, to witness, and to respond to life as it is, not as it was. If you're still here with me, thank you for taking the time to listen, reflect, and journey inward. If this message resonated with you and you'd like to continue walking this path of deep reflection and conscious healing together, I invite you to subscribe for more heartfelt insights and grounded spiritual guidance. Your presence truly means so much. Feel free to share your own stories, thoughts, or reflections in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this window is showing up for you. Until next time, take care of your energy, take care of your heart, and remember, clarity doesn't always come from cutting away. Sometimes it comes from sitting still long enough to see what you're truly being shown.